Well, the foundation for drafting lies in geometry. So the next chapter in the book, chapter 10, deals with specifically talking about geometry and how it plays an important role in drafting. Many of you should have, if not all of us, have taken a geometry class in high school and could took a more advanced classes, trigonometry, and those types of things where we use much more advanced levels of geometry. So we're not going to go too in depth with this, but I certainly wanted to highlight the importance of geometry in the drafting process, in the design process, and even in the construction process for a variety of products. So looking at what geometry means in itself, it comes from the Greek word, the combination of the Greek word geo, meaning earth, and metri, meaning measure. So if you combine those together as a definition, you get measure of the earth. So geometry is simply talking about the measurement of the earth. And it's a branch of mathematics dealing with the lines and shapes and solids and how they can work together and how they do work together. Geometry has been used in ancient civilizations for a long, long time. If you think about the Egyptians developing the pyramids, that there was certainly a significant component of geometry in the development of those. The Greeks really were the ones to master geometry, if you will, or really to popularize it and the study of it. So developing the formulas and all the mathematic components of describing the geometric shapes. And those were important then because as they were building more advanced structures and doing more advanced design, they really needed to master that geometry in order to be able to construct the structures that they did. So here you can see just a broad overview of the basic geometric shapes. And it's interesting as you get in and actually study the geometric shapes on considering the angles and the types of lines and all of the consistent components of those things that are in place. Meaning, for example, that here we might have a square, and we can have a square in a lot of different shapes and sizes, meaning it can move into a rectangle. We have different sides of either the height or width, but at the same time the angles within these remain the same. For example, as we're all familiar with within the square, that they're 90 degrees. And so no matter how you alter that square in the various forms of the rectangle, it's still consistent. And the same was true with the triangle, pentagon, hexagon, and so forth, that the geometric shapes have specific angles. And even if you alter those, meaning you alter the size or you alter the length of one, that throughout the whole shape, the angles remain the same. And in terms of doing construction, or design and construction, geometry is so important. For example, it may be one thing to draw a hexagon, a six-sided figure, but to actually, let's say if we wanted to construct a gazebo and we wanted it to be in the shape of a hexagon, but it's 80 feet across. So now we get into actually having to lay out a perfect hexagon over a large amount of space on the ground, and how will we do that? And today we have laser levels and survey tools and all kinds of great things that we can use to do that. But 1,000 years ago, that wasn't at their disposal. And so they really had to master the angles and the lines and how to relate one side to the other side, which laying out things with ropes and stakes and those types of things in order to get those perfect angles that they wanted. And they were able to do that because of the mathematic components of each one of those geometric shapes. So really that's as far as we're going to go in terms of geometry. Again, it's an important subject, but for this class we just want to introduce it here and just tie in the fact of its critical component, how it really is the foundation for whether you're doing drafting by hand or whether we're doing drafting on a CAD system, that geometry is the foundation of it. And the better understanding you have both in geometry, the more you're going to understand drafting. But it also actually works in both ways, that as we do hand drafting, we really begin to develop a strong sense of how geometry works and plays, which can help us in the math arena as well.